Have you ever woken up knowing deep inside that you're capable of more, yet felt the heavy pull of hesitation keeping you stuck in the same place? That quiet voice that whispers, maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe when I feel ready. You've heard it, haven't you? The truth is, that voice is the greatest thief of your life. It robs you of time, it robs you of progress, and it robs you of the person you could become. And yet, here you are, listening, because a part of you refuses to let that voice win any longer. That part of you is stronger than you realize, and it's the reason you're still searching for change, still hungry for growth, still unwilling to settle for a life half-lived. You don't need permission to move forward. You don't need the perfect plan or the perfect moment. What you need is the courage to take the first step, even when everything inside you says to wait, because waiting has never given you anything but regret. Think about it. How many times have you looked back and wished you had started sooner? How many times have you promised yourself you'd finally take action, only to wake up months or years later in the exact same place? That's the cost of hesitation, and it's far too high. But imagine something different. Imagine looking in the mirror tomorrow morning and feeling proud of yourself, not because you did everything perfectly, but because you refused to let excuses control you. Imagine the surge of energy that comes from proving to yourself that you can rise, that you can push, that you can get it done no matter how small the step. That feeling is the fuel of transformation. It's addictive, it's powerful, and it will carry you further than you ever believed possible. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who never feel tired, or afraid, or doubtful. They're the ones who act in spite of it. They're the ones who stop negotiating with their own weakness and simply decide, today, I move. They understand something that most people never grasp. Momentum is born in motion. The second you start, even imperfectly, you unlock a chain reaction inside your mind and body that makes the next step easier, and the next one after that. Soon, you're no longer dragging yourself forward. You're being pulled by your own progress. And that's why you need to stay right here, listening, because what we were building together is bigger than a single choice or a single day. We're building the strength to rise again and again, until action becomes your natural state, and excuses lose their power over you. If you stay with me, you'll discover how to break the chains that have held you back, how to ignite the fire that's been waiting inside you, and how to carry that fire into every area of your life. So take a breath, feel the weight of your own potential, and decide right now that you will not walk away from this moment unchanged. Because today isn't just another day. Today is the line in the sand, the moment you stop wishing and start moving. This is your call to rise, to get up, and to get it done. You already know what it feels like to wait. You've lived with that weight pressing on your chest, the endless cycle of planning, imagining, and preparing that never seems to turn into action. And you know what it brings: frustration, guilt, and the painful realization that life isn't waiting for you to be ready. Every day that passes without movement is another day you can't get back. That reality can hurt, but it can also be the spark that changes everything, because pain has a way of waking us up to what truly matters. The truth is, you don't need more time. You don't need another round of overthinking. You don't need a perfect starting point. You need to move, right now, with whatever you have, however you are, in this very moment. Because action is the cure for doubt. Action dissolves fear. Action creates clarity where hesitation only multiplies confusion. The mind is like quicksand when left in stillness. Every second you wait, you sink deeper into uncertainty. But the moment you move, even just one step, the ground beneath you begins to harden. The world starts to shift. Not because it changed, but because you did. You've convinced yourself in the past that you'll start when you feel motivated, when you feel stronger, when life finally lines up in your favor. But motivation doesn't come before movement, it comes after. Your brain is wired to release energy when it recognizes progress. That rush of pride, that spark of drive, that sense of unstoppable momentum, it doesn't arrive when you sit still, it arrives when you push forward. So if you've been waiting for motivation to knock on your door, understand this: it's already waiting for you on the other side of effort. And here's the beautiful part: you don't need to do everything all at once. You don't need to conquer the mountain today. All you need to do is rise, take one step, and prove to yourself that you are no longer trapped by excuses. That single act of movement is a declaration to yourself that you're done letting fear hold the pen that writes your story. And once you make that declaration, something shifts inside you. You begin to see yourself differently. You stop identifying as someone who waits, and you start becoming someone who acts. That identity is powerful, because once you see yourself as a mover, a doer, a builder, you'll fight to stay aligned with it. Every great change in human history began with one decision. One person deciding that enough was enough, that their future would not be a repeat of their past. And you are standing in that same position right now. The weight you feel, the frustration you've carried, the dreams that won't let you rest, they are not accidents. They are signals, pulling you toward the life you were meant to create. Ignoring them only deepens the pain. Listening to them, acting on them, transforms the pain into fuel. So ask yourself, what would happen if today you chose movement instead of delay? What would happen if, for once, you stopped negotiating with your excuses and simply stood up? That one decision could change the entire direction of your life. And the only thing standing between you and that possibility is the choice you make in this moment. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to take the step in front of you. Get up, move, begin. Because once you do, nothing will ever be the same. The moment you choose to rise, the world around you begins to respond. It's almost invisible at first, but it's real. Your energy shifts. Your posture changes. Your mind awakens to possibilities that hesitation had hidden from you. Suddenly, the things that once felt impossible begin to look like challenges you can conquer. This is the power of action. It doesn't just move your body, it transforms your perception. You stop looking at obstacles as reasons to quit and start seeing them as proof that you're on the right path. Because nothing worth having has ever come without resistance, and the resistance you feel now is a sign that you are stepping into growth. Fear will still be there. Doubt will still whisper in your ear. But here's the truth most people never realize. Fear loses its power the moment you face it. Every time you act in spite of fear, you rewire your brain to understand that you are stronger than your emotions. Science proves it. Your mind learns by experience, and when you teach it that action brings strength, your confidence grows. That's why each small step matters more than you think. It's not about what you accomplish in a single moment. It's about what you prove to yourself. And once you've proven that you can rise, fear becomes smaller, doubt becomes quieter, and your belief in yourself becomes louder. This is where courage is born. Not in the absence of fear, but in the decision to move while fear stands in your way. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard began with this choice. They felt what you feel now, the hesitation, the resistance, the pull to stay safe, and they moved anyway. That's the only difference. The line between who you are and who you want to become is not talent, not luck, not circumstance. It's simply the willingness to act when everything in you says to wait, and that willingness can be built, moment by moment, step by step, choice by choice. Your brain loves progress, no matter how small. Each time you get up and get it done, your body rewards you with a surge of energy, a chemical signal that says, yes, this is right, keep going. That's why momentum is so powerful. It's not magic, it's biology. The more you move, the more your brain craves the feeling of movement. The more you win small victories, the more you're driven to chase bigger ones. Soon, what once felt impossible becomes your new normal, and you begin to wonder why you ever doubted yourself in the first place. Think about how your life changes when this becomes your default state. No more waiting for motivation. No more bargaining with your excuses. No more waking up with the weight of regret pressing on your chest. Instead, you wake up with clarity, with drive, with the unstoppable force that comes from knowing you can trust yourself to act. That is freedom. That is power. And it's available to you the moment you stop waiting and start moving. So let this be the moment where you draw a line inside yourself. No more delay. No more hiding from your own potential. You've carried the weight of hesitation long enough. It's time to trade it for the fire of action. Stand up, push forward, get it done. Because once you do, you'll never look at yourself the same way again. Every time you rise and follow through, you send a powerful signal to yourself. I am capable. I am disciplined. I am becoming who I was meant to be. That message grows stronger with every action you take, and soon it becomes a truth you no longer question. The doubts that once paralyzed you begin to lose their grip, because your actions become evidence that you are greater than your hesitation. And evidence is powerful. Your brain cannot argue with what you repeatedly prove to yourself. This is how transformation is built, not in sudden leaps, but in the consistent proof that you are stronger than the excuses that once defined you. But make no mistake, the path of growth will test you. There will be mornings when the comfort of staying still feels irresistible. There will be nights when your mind tells you you've done enough, when the voice of resistance tempts you to settle for less. Those moments are not signs of weakness, they are the exact opportunities that shape your strength. Because discipline is not built when it's easy to move, it's built when everything inside you tells you to stop, and you rise anyway. That's the fire of self-mastery, and it's forged in the furnace of discomfort. The more you lean into that discomfort, the stronger you become. Your future depends on these choices. Not the massive once-in-a-lifetime moments, but the daily decisions that stack quietly, almost invisibly, until one day you look back and realize they built the person you've become. Each choice to rise instead of delay is a brick laid in the foundation of your new life. One brick may not seem like much, but together, they build walls of strength, resilience, and confidence that nothing can break. And the sooner you start stacking those bricks, the sooner your future begins to take shape. This is why urgency matters. Time is the one resource you can never replace. Every hour spent in hesitation is an hour you will never see again. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because the truth is, your life is happening right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when circumstances are better. Right now. The question is, are you living it fully, or are you watching it slip through your fingers while you wait for perfect conditions that will never arrive? The clock is ticking, but that's not a curse, it's a gift. It's the reminder that your moments matter, that every decision carries weight, that you don't have the luxury of wasting days on excuses when your future is begging for action. And the moment you embrace that truth, you stop fearing time and start using it as fuel. You stop seeing the ticking clock as pressure and start seeing it as permission to act boldly, to live fiercely, to rise without delay. So when you feel that familiar pull to wait, to postpone, to hide, remember this. Hesitation costs you everything, but action gives you life. You don't need to conquer everything today. You just need to move today. You just need to rise. Because once you begin, you create a ripple that grows into waves, waves strong enough to carry you into the future you've always wanted. Get up, step forward, and let your actions shout louder than your excuses. The time is now, and it belongs to you. The life you dream about is not waiting for a perfect version of you. It is waiting for the version of you that decides to act, even when everything feels uncertain. Perfection has never created progress. Movement has. You don't need flawless execution to change your life. You don't need to know every step of the journey. What you need is the willingness to start where you are, with what you have, and let the path reveal itself as you go. Progress is messy, but it is also powerful. The cracks, the struggles, the mistakes, they are not signs of failure. They are proof that you are alive, moving, becoming. When you choose progress over perfection, something incredible happens inside you. You release the weight of impossible expectations. You stop waiting for the stars to align, and begin to see the value in every single step forward. Psychology tells us that growth comes not from avoiding mistakes, but from engaging with them, learning from them, and using them as stepping stones to rise higher. This means that every imperfect action you take is not wasted. It is essential. Each stumble sharpens your awareness. Each wrong turn builds resilience. Each small win builds confidence. This is how greatness is born, not in flawless beginnings, but in relentless persistence. Think about the strength you gain when you choose to act despite the possibility of failure. That strength is unshakable, because it is not based on conditions outside your control. It is rooted in your decision to rise, no matter what. That is power no one can take from you. And as you continue to act, you create undeniable evidence that you are capable of more than you ever believed. Evidence builds belief, and belief fuels even greater action. This is the unstoppable cycle you unlock the moment you stop chasing perfection and start embracing progress. Fear of failure will try to hold you back. It will tell you that mistakes mean you're not good enough, that setbacks prove you should quit. But failure is not the end. It is the teacher. The greatest breakthroughs are hidden inside the very experiences that once made you doubt yourself. And when you choose to face them, to rise again after every fall, you strip failure of its power. You turn it into fuel. You show yourself that nothing can stop you because you refuse to stop yourself. That kind of resilience is what separates those who only dream from those who actually build. Imagine how your life changes when you no longer fear failure. Imagine waking up each day knowing that no matter what happens, you will rise, you will learn, and you will keep moving forward. That is freedom. That is strength. And it is earned through the simple, daily act of getting up and getting it done. You don't wait for certainty. You don't wait for guarantees. You create certainty by moving. You build guarantees by refusing to quit. So take this truth with you. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Waiting for the perfect moment has already cost you enough. Now it's time to trade hesitation for momentum. Let every step, no matter how small, be proof that you are alive, you are capable, and you are becoming the person you were always meant to be. Get up. Take the step. Progress is waiting, and it begins the moment you decide to move. The moment you take ownership of your life, everything changes. Ownership means refusing to blame circumstances, refusing to point fingers, and refusing to wait for someone else to hand you the opportunities you desire. It means standing face to face with your reality and declaring, "This is my life, and I will shape it." That declaration is powerful because it puts control back where it belongs, in your hands. As long as you believe your future depends on luck, timing, or someone else's decisions, you'll always feel powerless. But when you claim ownership, you awaken to the truth that the power to rise has always been yours. There is no freedom greater than the freedom of responsibility. At first, it feels heavy, because it forces you to confront your choices and your habits. But that weight is not a burden. It's strength training for your mind. Every time you take responsibility, you build the mental muscles that allow you to push through difficulty and create results. Responsibility may feel uncomfortable, but it is the very thing that liberates you, because once you understand that your life is your responsibility, you stop waiting and start creating. Psychology proves this over and over again. People who believe they control their own outcomes, those with what's called an internal locus of control, are more resilient, more motivated, and more successful. Why? Because when they face obstacles, they don't collapse under the weight of blame. They rise, adjust, and keep going. They understand that setbacks are not proof of powerlessness, but invitations to grow stronger. This mindset separates those who live passively from those who live fully. You have a choice right now. You can continue giving away your power by saying, "I can't because of this, I can't because of them, I can't because of the past." Or you can claim your power by saying, "I will rise anyway. I will move anyway. I will create anyway." That shift changes everything. Suddenly, life is no longer something that happens to you. It becomes something you build, one choice at a time. And when you live this way, you begin to realize that nothing outside you has the authority to dictate your future unless you give it permission. Think about what that means. It means you are not trapped by your past. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are not limited by what others expect of you. The only chains that hold you back are the ones you agree to wear. And the moment you stop agreeing, the moment you refuse to let excuses control you, those chains fall away. Ownership is the key that unlocks the life you've been waiting for. This is the truth. No one is coming to save you, but you don't need saving. You are not weak, you are not broken, and you are not incapable. You are powerful, and you have always been powerful. The fire inside you has been waiting for you to stop giving away your strength and start using it. Stand tall in that truth. Take ownership of your life. Refuse to wait for permission. Refuse to let another day pass in the shadow of excuses. Your life belongs to you, so rise, take control, and get it done. When you claim your power, you begin to see discipline not as punishment but as freedom. Discipline is not about restriction. It is about creating space for the life you truly want. Without it, you are controlled by impulses, by moods, by fleeting feelings that change with the wind, but with it, you take back control. You decide who you are becoming, not your excuses, not your distractions, not the temporary comfort of doing nothing. Every time you practice discipline, you invest in a future where you can trust yourself completely. That trust is priceless because it means you no longer live at the mercy of hesitation. You live with the certainty that you will rise when it matters most. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It is the act of telling yourself, "My dreams matter enough to fight for. My goals matter enough to protect. My future matters enough to choose strength over weakness." Too often, people think discipline is about sacrifice, but the truth is it's about alignment. It's aligning your daily actions with the person you want to become. It's proving to yourself that your word has value, that when you say you'll do something, you mean it, and every time you follow through, you strengthen that bond with yourself. Science shows us that habits shape identity. Each repeated action carves a deeper groove in your brain, until it becomes automatic. That's why discipline is powerful. It doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. The more you rise, the more natural rising becomes. The more you act, the less energy it takes to act again. Eventually, momentum carries you forward, and what once felt impossible becomes effortless. But it all begins with the choice to honor your commitments, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Think about the alternative. A life without discipline is a life of chaos, where every desire pulls you in a new direction, where every distraction steals your focus, where every excuse becomes another chain around your potential. That life is exhausting, not because you're working too hard, but because you're drifting without direction. When you lack discipline, you give your power to circumstances, and you live as a passenger instead of a driver. But discipline puts your hands back on the wheel. It doesn't make the road easy, but it ensures you're always moving toward your destination. And here's the truth. Discipline isn't about willpower alone. It's about clarity. When you know why you're rising, when you know the vision that fuels you, discipline becomes less about force and more about focus. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start asking, "Does this bring me closer to the life I want?" That question cuts through excuses, because your future is always more valuable than temporary comfort. And when you live with that kind of focus, every step you take builds a life you can be proud of. So let today be the day you choose discipline, not as a burden, but as the ultimate act of freedom. Stand firm in your commitments, honor your word, protect your vision. Every time you choose discipline, you are choosing yourself. You are choosing growth over comfort, strength over weakness, action over delay. And those choices, repeated again and again, are what build the unstoppable version of you that has always been waiting to rise, get up, follow through, and get it done. Every time you choose to rise with discipline, you are building something far greater than a routine. You are building resilience. Resilience is the strength that carries you when life tests you, when obstacles appear, when plans fall apart, and when the path feels longer than you expected. Without resilience, even the smallest setback can knock you down for weeks, but with it, even the heaviest storm cannot keep you from moving forward. Resilience is the shield and the sword of progress, and it is forged through repeated action, through choosing again and again to stand up when it would be easier to stay down. You will face resistance. Life will not always move in your favor. But resilience means you no longer crumble under pressure. You rise because of it. Psychology shows us that those who view challenges as opportunities grow stronger, while those who view them as threats shrink back. The difference isn't in the size of the obstacle, it's in the mindset of the person facing it. And when you practice resilience, you program your mind to see every obstacle as proof that you are moving toward something meaningful. Resistance is not a wall. It is the weight you lift to become stronger. Every difficulty you overcome adds to your arsenal of confidence. Each time you push through, you gather evidence that you are not fragile, that you are not defined by setbacks, that you are capable of carrying more than you imagined. That evidence compounds, and soon you realize that you are no longer afraid of challenges, because you have proven that challenges cannot break you. They only sharpen you. They only prepare you. They only remind you of the strength you already carry inside, and this strength becomes your advantage. While others quit at the first sign of discomfort, you will push forward. While others allow setbacks to rewrite their story, you will use them as fuel to write yours more powerfully. This is how resilience separates those who merely wish from those who achieve. Because wishing requires no strength, but achieving demands the courage to endure. And the more you endure, the more unstoppable you become. But resilience is not just about enduring. It is about rising with purpose. It is about deciding that no matter how many times you are knocked down, you will stand again with clarity, with determination, with fire in your heart. This kind of resilience is not passive, it is active. It doesn't wait for the storm to pass. It learns to dance in the rain. It doesn't wait for the path to clear. It forges a way forward. And when you embody this mindset, life no longer intimidates you. It challenges you. It sharpens you. It prepares you. But it never owns you. So remember this. Resilience is not a trait you are born with. It is a choice you practice. Every day you get up and get it done, you strengthen it. Every obstacle you face becomes another opportunity to prove it. And every time you prove it, you step further into the unshakable version of yourself that no excuse, no setback, and no fear can hold down. Rise with resilience. Stand in your strength. Push forward no matter the weight, because the more you endure, the more powerful you become. Resilience gives birth to confidence, and confidence is the force that allows you to walk into any challenge with certainty that you will find a way through. True confidence is not arrogance, and it is not pretending to be unshaken. It is the quiet power of knowing that whatever happens, you will rise, you will learn, and you will continue forward. Confidence comes from action, from the choices you make each day to keep moving. The more you act, the more proof you give yourself that you are capable. That proof becomes belief, and belief becomes an unstoppable driving force. So many people wait for confidence before they act, as if it will magically appear one day. But that is not how it works. Confidence does not precede action. It follows it. Every time you do the thing you thought you couldn't, every time you face the fear and move anyway, you plant a seed of confidence in your mind. And with every repetition, that seed grows into unshakable belief. It is built like a muscle, strengthened by use, expanded by effort, until one day you carry yourself differently, speak differently, move differently. Because you know, deep in your core, that you can trust yourself to rise. Confidence is magnetic. When you believe in yourself, others feel it. Doors begin to open, opportunities appear, people want to align with your energy, not because the world has changed, but because you have. The confidence you radiate changes the way you move through life, and the way life responds to you. This is not theory, it is reality. Psychology calls it self-efficacy, the belief in your own ability to succeed. Research proves that people with high self-efficacy set bigger goals, persist longer, and recover faster from setbacks. And the only way to build it is to take action again and again, until belief becomes second nature. Confidence also frees you from comparison. When you are rooted in your own growth, you stop measuring your worth against someone else's timeline. You stop looking sideways and start looking forward. You realize that your journey is not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than the version of yourself who refused to act. That clarity is powerful, because it strips away the noise and focuses you on what truly matters, progress. And when you live with this kind of confidence, hesitation loses its grip. You no longer waste energy questioning whether you are capable. You know you are, because you've proven it. Instead of being paralyzed by doubt, you step forward with conviction. Instead of fearing failure, you embrace the lesson it brings. Confidence turns uncertainty into opportunity, and setbacks into fuel. It transforms challenges from things you fear into things you welcome, because each one is another chance to grow stronger. This is why confidence is not optional, it is essential. And the only way to build it is to act, to rise, to get up and get it done, especially when you don't feel ready. Because confidence is not born from waiting, it is born from doing. Every step forward makes you stronger, every action plants belief. And every time you prove to yourself that you can, you silence the doubts that once controlled you. Stand tall in that truth, act with conviction, and watch your confidence carry you into the life you've been waiting to claim. Confidence becomes unstoppable when it is fueled by clarity of vision. Without vision, confidence has no direction. Without direction, effort scatters and energy is wasted. But when you are clear on where you are going, every ounce of your strength has purpose. Vision is the compass that guides discipline, resilience, and confidence toward a future worth fighting for. It is the picture of the life you want so vividly painted in your mind that it pulls you forward even on the hardest days. Without it, excuses win. With it, nothing can stop you. Clarity of vision gives meaning to sacrifice. It transforms hard work from something you dread into something you embrace, because you know why it matters. When you see the bigger picture, the late nights, the early mornings, the moments of discomfort, they stop feeling like punishment. They become investments, and the greater your vision, the greater your willingness to endure what others will not. People quit not because the work is too hard, but because they forget why they started. Vision keeps your why alive, and that why becomes the fuel that makes quitting impossible. Psychology shows us that people with clearly defined goals are more focused, more persistent, and far more likely to achieve what they set out to do. The brain thrives on clarity. When you give it a destination, it begins filtering your decisions, aligning your actions, and sharpening your focus. This is why vision matters. It programs your mind to see opportunities where others see nothing, to keep moving where others stop, to hold faith where others give up. A clear vision isn't just a dream, it is a mental map that reshapes your reality. But vision alone is not enough. It must be alive, active, and infused into your daily actions. It cannot just live in your imagination. It must be carried into everything you do. When you wake up tired, vision reminds you why rising matters. When fear whispers, vision reminds you why courage is necessary. When setbacks strike, Vision reminds you that the journey is still worth it. With vision, you no longer ask, "Do I feel like it?" Instead, you ask, "Does this move me closer to the life I see so clearly?" That question keeps you aligned with purpose, and purpose is stronger than any excuse. This is how vision transforms your identity. When the picture of who you want to be is crystal clear, you begin to live in alignment with it now. You act as though you are already that person, because in truth, you are becoming them with every decision you make. That alignment creates power, because the gap between who you are and who you want to be begins to close. And as that gap closes, your confidence deepens, your resilience strengthens, and your discipline sharpens. So allow yourself to see it clearly, the life you want, the person you are becoming, the strength you already hold. Hold that vision close, protect it, feed it with action, and let it guide you every single day. Because when your vision is strong, no setback can blind you, no fear can silence you, and no excuse can stop you. With vision as your compass, every step becomes meaningful, every effort becomes progress, and every moment becomes another chance to rise. Get up, stay focused, and let your vision pull you into the life you know you are meant to live. When vision burns brightly within you, consistency becomes the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you want to be. A single burst of effort can spark change, but it is consistency that sustains it. One action proves what is possible, but repeated actions make it inevitable. The difference between those who wish and those who win is not talent, not luck, but the relentless decision to show up again and again, regardless of mood, regardless of circumstance, regardless of how far the destination still seems. Consistency builds trust within yourself. Every time you follow through, even in the smallest way, you strengthen the belief that you can rely on your own word. That belief is everything. It means that when you set a goal, you no longer doubt if you will follow through. You know you will, because you've trained yourself to honor your commitments. That inner trust creates momentum, and momentum compounds into transformation. Psychology calls this the compound effect. Small, repeated actions stacking quietly over time, until they create results so massive, they seem almost impossible to trace back to their humble beginnings. But consistency requires more than motivation. It requires structure. Motivation is fleeting, but systems endure. When you create routines, habits, and daily practices that align with your vision, you no longer depend on fleeting feelings to push you forward. You build a foundation that carries you, even when you feel tired, even when your willpower is low. This is not about rigidity. It's about alignment. It's about making your daily life a reflection of the future you're creating, so that each day becomes another step toward that vision. And here is the truth. Most people never grasp. Consistency does not demand perfection. You will stumble. You will miss a step. You will have days when your energy falters. But consistency is not about never slipping. It is about refusing to quit. It is about rising again, even when you fall short. The power lies not in being flawless, but in being relentless. Because the person who stumbles but always returns to the path will go further than the person who waits for perfect conditions that never arrive. Consistency also rewires your identity. Every repeated action sends a message to your brain. This is who I am. The more you act, the more that identity takes root, until you no longer need to force yourself. You simply live it. This is how powerful habits are formed. They shift you from effort to embodiment. What once felt like a struggle becomes natural, and what once required discipline becomes second nature. That shift is where transformation becomes permanent, where your new self is no longer something you chase but something you embody. So understand this. Greatness is not built in one leap. It is built in the quiet, repeated choices that seem small but carry massive weight. The choice to get up instead of staying down. The choice to work instead of delay. The choice to honor your vision instead of surrendering to excuses. These choices, made consistently, will rewrite your life. They will build strength, confidence, and momentum so powerful that nothing can stop you. Show up today, show up tomorrow, and keep showing up until consistency is no longer a decision, but a way of being. Rise with it, move with it, and let it carry you to the life you were always meant to live. Consistency opens the door to momentum, and momentum is the force that makes progress unstoppable. At first, every step feels heavy, every choice requires effort, every action demands conscious decision. But once you build momentum, the weight shifts. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural. What once drained your energy begins to generate it. Momentum is the silent power that turns small actions into great achievements. and it grows stronger with every movement you make. Momentum is not luck, it is earned. It is built by stacking one decision on top of another, until the energy you've created starts carrying you forward. Psychology proves this truth. The brain craves progress. Each time you act, your mind rewards you with a sense of accomplishment, and that reward pushes you to act again. Over time, those small bursts of motivation compound into a wave of drive so powerful that stopping feels harder than continuing. This is why people who start small often achieve the biggest results, because they allow momentum to take over and carry them further than willpower alone ever could. The danger comes when you allow hesitation to break the chain. Momentum is fragile in the beginning. It needs consistency to grow. It needs action to strengthen. But once it takes hold, it becomes the greatest ally you have. That's why it's critical to protect it. Don't underestimate the power of even the smallest step. If you don't feel capable of doing everything, do something. Even the tiniest action keeps the momentum alive, and once it's alive, it can grow into something unstoppable. Momentum is what separates temporary effort from lasting transformation. Anyone can start with energy, but only those who protect their momentum keep going long enough to see real change. Think about it, one workout doesn't transform your body, but months of momentum do. One act of focus doesn't transform your future, but years of consistent momentum build a life you once only dreamed of. It is not the single act that defines you. It is the rhythm you create, the current you build, the unstoppable force of your own persistence. And momentum changes the way you see yourself. At first, you have to push yourself into action, but once momentum builds, action pulls you. You begin to feel the energy of your own movement, and that energy becomes addictive. You stop questioning whether you can, because momentum proves you already are. You stop doubting if it's worth it, because the results around you show it is. The longer you maintain momentum, the stronger your identity as a person of action becomes, and that identity becomes the foundation for every success that follows. So protect your momentum with everything you have. Guard it from excuses, guard it from hesitation, guard it from the temptation to stop when you're just beginning to build speed. Feed it daily with action, even the smallest kind, and watch as it multiplies into power you never thought you had. Momentum doesn't just move you forward, it transforms you into someone unstoppable, someone who no longer asks, "Can I do this?" but instead declares, "Nothing will stop me from doing this." Keep moving, keep building, keep rising. Let momentum become your greatest strength, and it will carry you further than you ever imagined possible. Momentum thrives when it is fueled by clarity, and clarity comes from knowing exactly why you are doing what you do. Without purpose, effort feels heavy. Without vision, repetition feels meaningless. But when you connect your daily actions to a deeper reason, every choice becomes powerful, every step becomes meaningful, every sacrifice becomes worth it. Psychology calls this intrinsic motivation, the fire that burns from within, not because someone else told you to act, but because you know deep down, this is what your life demands of you. Your reason is the anchor that keeps you steady when storms rise. It is the force that keeps you moving when results feel distant. It is the reminder of what matters most, of the life you refuse to settle without. When your vision is strong enough, excuses lose their power. When your why is clear enough, distractions fade away. You no longer ask, "Should I keep going?" You already know the answer. You keep going because your reason is too important to abandon. Think about how powerful the human spirit becomes when fueled by purpose. People endure pain, struggle, and hardship, not because they enjoy it, but because they are connected to something greater than the discomfort. Athletes push past exhaustion, not for the sake of sweat, but for the victory they see in their mind. Parents work tirelessly not because the effort is easy, but because the future of their children matters more than their fatigue. Purpose makes the unbearable bearable. It makes the impossible possible. It transforms obstacles into stepping stones, because the reason behind the effort shines brighter than the struggle itself. But purpose is not something you wait to find. It is something you create. It begins by asking yourself what matters most, what you are willing to fight for, what kind of life you are unwilling to leave unlived. When you answer those questions honestly, you begin to discover your why, and once you have it, you must protect it. Write it down. Repeat it to yourself daily. Let it live in your thoughts, in your decisions, in the actions you take when no one else is watching. Purpose is not meant to be vague. It is meant to be lived, breathed, embodied in every choice. The connection between purpose and perseverance is undeniable. Studies in psychology and neuroscience reveal that people with strong purpose show higher resilience, greater focus, and deeper fulfillment. Purpose doesn't eliminate the struggle, it gives it meaning. It doesn't erase the weight, it gives you strength to carry it. With purpose, what once felt like sacrifice becomes investment. What once felt like a burden becomes a path. The same action that felt empty without meaning becomes unstoppable when tied to a greater why. So ask yourself now, what is your reason? What vision burns inside you so strongly that you cannot let it die? What future calls to you so loudly that ignoring it would feel like betrayal? When you find that answer, hold it close, because it will be the fuel that keeps your momentum alive. It will remind you why you started when you feel like stopping. It will guide you through doubt, through delay, through disappointment. Your purpose is your power. Connect with it, live it, and let it drive you toward the life you were made to build. Purpose ignites the fire, but discipline keeps it burning when the excitement fades. Motivation may get you started, but discipline is what carries you through the days when nothing feels easy, when progress is invisible, when comfort tempts you to quit. It is the steady rhythm that turns effort into habit, and habit into transformation. Discipline is not about punishment, it is about freedom. The freedom to rise above impulses, to break free from distractions, to claim control over your own life instead of being controlled by circumstance. Think about the difference between someone who waits to feel ready and someone who shows up no matter what. The first person rides the wave of mood, fragile and inconsistent. The second creates their own wave, unstoppable and steady. That is the difference discipline makes. It builds reliability in yourself. It teaches you that your word matters, that your promises to yourself are sacred, that you can count on you. And when you trust yourself to follow through, confidence grows, momentum builds, and doubt loses its grip. Psychology shows us that self-discipline predicts success more strongly than intelligence, talent, or luck. Not because discipline eliminates struggle, but because it transforms your relationship with it. Discipline allows you to act not according to how you feel in the moment, but according to the future you have decided is yours. It closes the gap between intention and action. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen the neural pathways that make follow-through easier the next time. What once felt heavy becomes natural. What once felt impossible becomes routine. That is the science of consistency. It rewires your brain for resilience. And here is the truth many avoid. Discipline is not about giant leaps. It is about small, repeated steps taken with unwavering commitment. Waking up a little earlier, finishing the task you wanted to postpone, choosing focus over distraction, growth over comfort, persistence over excuse. Each choice may seem small, but together they create an unstoppable force. Tiny victories compound into unstoppable momentum. Discipline is the bridge between the life you dream of and the life you live. Without it, dreams remain fantasy. With it, dreams become inevitable. This is why discipline feels uncomfortable at first. It forces you to confront your patterns, your impulses, your excuses. But discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a sign you are breaking free from old limits. Growth never feels easy in the moment. Progress never feels painless. Discipline is the training ground of greatness, and every time you push through resistance, you become stronger, sharper, more unshakable. You prove to yourself that you are not controlled by weakness. You are guided by strength. So when the voice of doubt whispers that you can skip, that you can delay, that you can give less than your best, remind yourself of this. Discipline is the language of winners. It is the code of those who refuse to let potential go to waste. It is the daily choice that turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders, creators, and achievers, and you already have it within you. Every time you choose action over excuse, you are building it. Every time you push forward despite resistance, you are strengthening it. Discipline is not a trait you are born with. It is a muscle you build, and the stronger it gets, the freer you become. Discipline opens the door, but belief is the force that drives you through it. You can push yourself to act, but if deep down you do not believe you are capable, the effort will feel hollow. Belief is the engine that fuels discipline. It is the unshakable conviction that your actions matter, that your choices create change, that you are worthy of the life you seek. Without belief you may start strong but fall when challenges rise. With belief no storm can stop you. You bend, but you do not break. You stumble, but you stand again. Your mind is the battlefield where victory is first won or lost. Every thought carries weight. If you tell yourself you cannot, your brain looks for proof to confirm it. If you tell yourself you can, Your brain searches for ways to make it real. This is not wishful thinking, it is psychology. Your beliefs shape your perception shapes your choices, and your choices shape your destiny. When you believe in your ability to endure, to adapt, to overcome, you access strength that would otherwise remain hidden. Belief unlocks the reserves of courage and persistence that discipline alone cannot reach. The greatest barrier is not the world outside, but the doubts inside. How many times have you hesitated not because the path was blocked, but because your mind convinced you it was too steep? Doubt disguises itself as logic, whispering reasons to wait, excuses to stop, explanations for why you cannot. But doubt is a liar. Doubt feeds on fear, on hesitation that robs you of opportunities. The truth is that every person who has achieved greatness felt the same fear, the same uncertainty, the same doubt. The difference is, they chose belief over hesitation. They chose to trust the vision inside them more than the voices against them. When you believe in yourself, you send a signal to your subconscious mind that activates focus, energy, and creativity. Neuroscience shows that belief changes brain chemistry, increasing motivation and resilience. It strengthens willpower and amplifies performance. Belief literally rewires your mind to look for solutions instead of obstacles, possibilities instead of limitations. And as you take action, belief grows stronger. It becomes a cycle. Belief fuels action. Action reinforces belief, and together they create unstoppable momentum. This is why protecting your belief is essential. Surround yourself with voices that build, not voices that tear down. Guard your focus against negativity. Feed your mind with examples of what is possible, not with reasons to quit. Because belief is fragile at first, but once it roots deep, it becomes immovable. When you reach that point, no setback can shake you, no failure can define you, no rejection can silence you. Belief makes you relentless. So stand tall in the face of doubt. Declare with conviction that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are enough. Let belief anchor you when challenges rise and lift you when energy fades. Combine it with discipline, and you hold the two forces that shape all transformation. Discipline carries you through action, and belief makes the action unstoppable. Together, they transform ordinary days into extraordinary progress, and ordinary people into legends.